Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bracket Builders Podcast. I'm your host, JD Davis, and we got another strange one for you this week. We had a wonderful show recorded for you that was a full hour and a half where we talked all kinds of different stuff, me and my co host Kai. And then when I went to edit the episode, I found that all of the audio was gone. And then it would come back, and then it would go away again. Don't know what happened. I must have hit some weird setting here in OBS, but it is going to be another solo episode this week for me. So we're going to get into it. It's going to be a pretty simple show today. We are in the middle of Avatar spoiler season, and so we've had a lot of fantastic looking cards that I figured we would talk about for a little bit, give some thoughts on them, what I think, and what they're going to do for a commander. Then this week we had the Secret Lair Countdown Kit go on sale that I figured it would be nice to just kind of look at the art and talk about for a little bit. One of the coolest looking sets of cards this release this year, but there's a bit of a story around it. And then we have standard bans coming next week. By the time this releases, it's only going to be a few days away. And we had Riftbound releases last week, a non-Magic card game, but locals here seem very excited about it, so I figured we'd give it a bit of a chat. So, let's get into it with the Avatar spoilers. Alright, so first up here we have Spirit Water Revival. 1 blue for a sorcery. As additional cost to cast this spell, you may waterbend 6. Draw 2 cards. If this spell's additional cost was paid, instead shuffle your graveyard into your library, draw 7 cards, and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. Exile Spirit Water Revival. This card is incredible. In Commander, 3 mana, draw 2 is a little below rate. We're typically trying to play 3 mana to draw 3 cards, but this card does more than just draw 2. Draw 2 is the fail state on this card. This is something you're going to be playing in your go wide creature decks, in your artifact decks, to just fill the board, spam it out quickly, and then on maybe turn 4 or turn 5, after you've played 5 or 6 bodies, you just 3 mana, redraw 7 cards. The best part is this is a one-sided time twister. This is not a everybody wheels. This is only I draw 7. So you don't have to have the downside of giving your opponents cards back as well if they manage to go as fast as you and dumping their hands. This is just a one-sided draw 7. I don't think I can stress how good that is in Commander. One card drawing 7 cards is a ridiculous bonus, comparable to the amount of cards that something like Rhystic Study would draw. But this needs setup, right? You need to have a deck that is going to have a lot of artifacts. Maybe you're doing clues, maybe you're doing treasure or food, or you're going to have to be a deck with a lot of creatures. It could be a typal deck where you're just playing 2, 3, 4 creatures every couple turns, or it could be a token deck where you're spamming 1/1 like what was it, like rabbits or something like that. If your deck can meet this very small requirement of putting a lot of cardboard on the table, this is going to go into your deck and it's going to be a wonderful card. Because even if all of your cards draw cards when you play them, if you're playing a bunch of like helpless saviors or whatever, and every 2 drop that makes a guy draws a card, you're not going to lose your hand when you draw 7 here, which is unbelievable. This is definitely going to be one of the better cards from the set. Take a look for this one if you haven't looked at it yet. Next up, we have a sleeper hit, the Unagi of Kyoshi Island. 3 blue for a 5/5 Serpent with Flash. It has Ward, Waterbend for 4, and whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. So this is a strange waterbending card here. It's the once per set mechanic as Ward, like we've seen for a couple years now. But this one is really, really good. This card, think of it as something along the lines of like a Consecrated Sphinx. Not quite going to draw you, what, 8 cards in the first turn like Sphinx will, but it's also not going to be smaller like a Fairy Mastermind. This is something in between these 2 cards. Something you'll play if you want. Maybe you want to play larger creatures. This is a 5/5 for 5, which is a fine stat line, especially for a flash creature. And whenever they draw the second card each turn, you draw 2 cards. This is not limited to once a turn. So if your one opponent draws 2 cards on their turn, and then another opponent casts like a brainstorm, you're gonna draw 4 cards in that turn rotation. Very good for Commander. But I'm more excited for this card, honestly, in 1v1 formats like Standard. A 5 mana flash creature that draws two cards and is a 5/5 is pretty nice in the current format. I don't know if it's going to be see play in the what's looking to be the really good blue-white flash deck alongside things like Aang and Wan Shi Tong and like all that kind of stuff. But this is gonna go in pretty much every blue deck that I build going forward because this feels like it is the epitome of a bracket 3 card. Fairy Mastermind is super strong and bracket like 4 and 5, right? It's 2 mana. You play this thing, you're gonna draw an extra card every turn. Great. And honestly, you can play that one in 3 too, right? But this is going bigger with your spells, doing more, but not quote unquote more powerful as far as like speed of winning a game is concerned. Great card. Super excited to jam it into a lot of my blue decks. Uh, let's go on to the next one. Next up, we have My Scornful Striker. One in the black for a 2/2 human noble ally. She has first strike, and whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, they lose 2 life. Kind of a baby Campbell here, only in black, so you can play her in your like Rakdos Punisher decks or things along that line. This card is gonna do a lot of work. It is meta dependent, right? If everybody is playing big creature green decks, this is gonna hit them maybe 1 or 2 times. But if your meta is full of fast mana or lots of card draw and cantrips and things like that, this is gonna be a great addition to your deck as just okay, cool. Every time you do anything, you're gonna lose a ton of life. I foresee this seeing play in a few formats. I definitely will try this in standard, but honestly, which shell, I'm not sure. It might be a sideboard card for Demir, but really cool card. Nice to see this effect printed on the card again. All right, so next up we have the 4 card Ascension cycle. These are all absolute bangers. We're going to start off with the Airbender Ascension. For 1 and a white, it's an enchantment. When this creature enters, airbend up to 1 target creature. Whenever a creature you control enters, put a quest counter on this enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, if this enchantment has 4 or more quest counters on it, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, blink decks are always looking for ways to get more blinks out of the cards that they include in the deck. One of the best cards released for blink strategies across all formats it's legal in is Felia, Exuberant Shepherd, and this does a pretty good Felia impression, coming down for 2 mana and immediately blinking your thing. Now, mind you, Airbend is a little bit weirder than Blink since you have to pay 2 mana to get your card back, but you can hit your opponent's card with this too, just like Felia. So if you need to like get a blocker out of the way of your creatures attacking somebody, this can do that as well. It's a bit of extra flexibility. But whenever a creature enters, putting a counter on this, 4 creatures entering is trivial in these blink decks. That's 1 copy of Ephemerate plus another creature in play, right? Uh, and then once you do that, this is just becomes a 2 mana Conjurer's Closet or Teleportation Circle, and that is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Plus, it doesn't have like the quest clause from things like Murders at Carlov Manor, where if you have to do the unlocking it and then get the effect. If you play this on turn 2, on like turn 5 rather, play this for 2, and then just go like blink, 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 cast my thing from Airbend, you've done it, and it's just going to start blinking things for you immediately. Very great card. If you're in a blink strategy, play it. If you have a lot of creature ETB value, you should play this. And take a look at it if you include Draft Magistrate in your decks as well. Next up, we have Waterbender Ascension. This is 1 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control does combat damage to a player, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then, if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, draw a card. And then it says Waterbend 4. Target creature cannot be blocked this turn. This is another great card. Like I mentioned at the top of this section, the Ascensions are all absolute bangers. Whenever a creature hits, you put a counter on this. There's no once per player or once per turn like triggers on this. If you play this on a turn where you have 4 creatures attacking a player and you hit 1, 2, 3, 4, you're gonna put 3 counters on here that don't draw a card. Then it's gonna put the fourth counter on and draw you a card, and it's replaced itself immediately. And then it becomes a 2 mana Coastal Piracy or Enduring Curiosity, which is just absolutely phenomenal. I would play this card if all it said was the top half. That's how good this thing is. But the bottom half is also really good. Waterbend 4, target creature can't be blocked this turn, is great. It is Waterbend is a mechanic people I think are highly underrating right now because you can pay mana, tap creatures, and or tap artifacts. So you can like tap 2 clues and a mana and give your creature unblockable. Or in your Voltron deck, you can tap all of your equipment, which are already attached, and tapping them does nothing, to give your creature unblockable for free. And if you're going wide at the same time, you can draw a bunch of cards. Great card. Really, really versatile. There's a lot of things in a lot of different decks. If you're going wide with creatures and you're trying to hit people, play this card. It's really good. Next up is the Earthbender Ascension. This is 2 and a green for an enchantment. When it enters, you Earthbend 2, and then search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Whenever a land you control enters, you put a quest counter on the enchantment, and when you do, if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, put a counter on target creature you control. It gains trample until end of turn. So this is one of those ascensions, just like the others, that helps you get its payoff, but it costs 1 more mana. But in addition, is a rather a thanks for paying 1 more mana on your ascension. You just go get a basic land into play tapped. So this is a 3 mana get a land, which is a little above the rate, but it's actually perfectly fine, especially when you keep in track that you do this on 3, you get your land, you get your quest counter, you play a fetch land, boom, boom, and then you ramp again, and you get your land, you get your counter, and you get your trample. Uh, Earthbend is also a mechanic that you should not discount. It is very, very good. If you have a powerful land that you want to make sure it doesn't go away, Earthbending onto it is actually a benefit, which seems strange because making it into a creature would make it more susceptible to removal. But if you can Earthbend, like a Field of the Dead, for example, and then they kill it with one of their cards that can kill your lands, it's just going to come back into play tapped, which is what Earthbend does, and that's super, super nice. Earthbend's one of the better mechanics in the set for sure, especially when you pair it in like 1v1 formats with things like Ghost Quarter and Wastelands, or Urza Saga leaving the battlefield and coming back to the battlefield right after it's gone. A lot of cool stuff to do with Earthbend, and this card does the Earthbend thing, and then just gives sizing and trample to creatures. I can't tell you how many times I've had huge creatures in play that don't come with trample, and I'm just sitting there like, please, please God, let me draw my trample so I can finally end this game because I got a 30-30 and I just need to kill somebody. So, great card, and let's go on to the next one, which is Firebender Ascension. This is 1 and a red for an enchantment. When this enchantment enters, make a 2/2 red soldier creature token with Firebending 1. Whenever a creature you control attacking causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, put a quest counter on this enchantment. Then, if it has 4 or more quest counters on it, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. So this is Ishin for 2 mana. It doesn't turn itself on immediately. You have to have 4 attack triggers. But in the decks that you're going to put this in, you're going to be full of attack triggers anyways. If you have a mobilized deck in Standard, or you have a deck like Caesar in Commander, one where your commander is doing a triggered ability, and you have other cards that do the triggered attacking abilities, this is going to be phenomenal. Put it in. But I'm most excited about this because it is a single red pip, and there's no other colors here, which means we can get the attack doubling effect in color combinations beyond Gruul and Mardu. So if you have, for example, a Rakdos deck that's all about attack triggers, you can put this in your deck. You can obviously put this in your Firebender's deck and just get tons and tons and tons of mana. Uh, this card is very, very nice. It's a bit more niche than the other ones so far. I think the most ubiquitous one is the blue one with the white one close behind because pretty much every creature in Commander is going to do something as an ETB. Uh, but this is still going to be really strong in the decks where it's designed to go into. And if you have a deck that has a lot of attack triggers, you should know about this card and you should put it directly into your decks. Next up, we have Avatar Destiny. This is 2 green green for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard and is an avatar in addition to its other types. When enchanted creature dies, mill cards equal to its power. Return this card to its owner's hand and up to 1 creature card milled this way to the battlefield under your control. Wow. This is another just absolute banger Commander card. This set is honestly so cool for Commander. They do so many unique designs and things that are just powerful, but in new and interesting ways. It's very little instances of this thing you liked before, we're gonna do it 3 times now. We're at least like it's not like a panharmonicon for everything, right? There's a lot of cool stuff going on here, and this is a great example. This card goes into all of your graveyard decks, but it's an enchantment, so it's a different type. It's nice for Delirium, but it's certainly a weird card, but it's gonna do work. If you put this in like Henzi Toolbox Tori, you slap it on your creature, it's like a 5/5 when it attacks, and then you're gonna give it +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, so it could be gigantic. And then if it dies to, say, a Blitz trigger from Henzi, or just being killed by one of your opponent's wraths, they're not out of the woodwork because another big idiot's gonna come because you're gonna mill a large chunk of your deck, get this card back into your hand, and then put the creature on the battlefield, which is just nuts. Doing some shades of natural order in your sacrifice decks too. So very cool card. But let's go on to the next one. Next up is the Earth King. Green got a lot of really good cards in this set. Kai could have told you how excited he was for this one in particular. The Earth King is 3 and a green for a human noble ally. It's a 2/2. When it enters, you make a 4/4 bear, and whenever one or more creatures you control with power 4 or greater attack, you search your library for up to that many basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Whew. Okay, so most green decks in Commander that are mostly green, like mono green, Drool, those kind of things, are going to be playing gigantic idiots that you have to answer, and then put two, three, four of them out of turn every turn, starting on turn 3. This card makes sure that you're going to never run out of mana in those decks. If you play this in Goreclaw for 3 mana, you then attack with 2 creatures, you're going to put 2 lands into play. This comes with a 4/4 bear. This does everything you want in these kind of big green decks, to the point where you can almost even try this out as the commander. I think Goreclaw is probably still the better fit. As a reason, it's one of the most like ubiquitous mono green commanders, but woo, this is going to do a lot of work. Here at Bracket Builders, one of our favorite commanders is Henzi Toolbox Tori, and this is probably the best card printed for it in a while. Super excited to see how this one shakes out. So, all right, next up we have Elemental Teachings. 4 and a green for an instant lesson. Search your library for up to 4 land cards with different names and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards. Put the chosen cards into your graveyard and the rest onto the battlefield, tapped. Then shuffle. I just want to make sure you understand what this card is. This is better Gifts Ungiven for lands combo decks. 5 mana instant speed, it means you can hold up removal if you're in like a 1v1 format or even just in Commander, and then bam, here comes this card because we have so many utility lands now in Commander, it's not even funny. But if you say need Valakut to go combo off and kill the table, you can go, all right, cool. I'm gonna go get Vesuva, Echoing Deeps, Thespian Stage, Valakut. You pick which 2 I get. And if they put the Valakut in the graveyard with the Echoing Deeps, cool. You're gonna get it back next turn. You can get Shifting Woodland to make sure this is even harder for them. There's so many like piles you can create with this card that win you the game very shortly after. But even ignoring the winning the game thing, you can just go get 4 powerful utility lands and immediately like ramp yourself like crazy. If you're playing a deck that can play lands from the graveyard consistently, this is a ridiculous card for those decks as well. All around a top to bottom banger. Also, if you just want them in the graveyard, you can just go get 2. They let you do the trick on this one, which they didn't let you do in the next Gift Ungiven that's in TMNT. They showed off that like legendary Gifts Ungiven for that deck, that set. That one specifies you have to get the 4. This one, you can just find 2 cards and put them straight in the graveyard. This can be 5 mana, entomb 2 lands, though getting other lands into play would just be better, right? So, I'm super excited to see what people do with this one in specifically Amulet Titan. I'm sure that deck is going to have some crazy combo lines. I don't know which bounce lands they're playing right now, but I suspect we're going to be seeing differently named ones coming soon, so that way they can get 4 bounce lands and just rich roll this into a ton of mana. So, super exciting card. Very excited about what we're going to do with this in 1v1 formats and in Commander. Keep an eye on this one as they continue to print busted lands. Next up, we have the card that I am least excited for out of this set that I'm going to be playing the most. This is Shared Roots. 1 and a green for a sorcery lesson. Search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. You're reading that right, folks. This is another Rampant Growth. So you have access to 5 consistent Rampant Growth-esque effects now in Commander if you're in a green deck. That is being Farseek, Nature's Lore, 3 visits, and of course, always Rampant Growth. Now you have a 5th one. This means that ramp has gone down by 1 mana. People who are playing Cultivate will turn them into Shared Roots. Green ramp decks will get faster at doing the ramp thing, more consistent at doing the ramp thing. And as they continue printing these 2-drop land tutors, we're going to see the format speed up even faster. Uh, I do not like this card exists. However, I am going to play it because nothing feels better than rampant growthing on 2 and then untapping to format on turn 3. Uh, this card is awesome to have in standard as well. A little sad, I see it for commander obviously, but in standard we don't have a good rampant growth. We have a go get a basic forest card that's in mono green, so you can keep ramping with green, but it doesn't color fix you. This is gonna go right into the Teamer Roots deck, so super excited to play that one. Roots Teamer Battlecrier deck rather, as just a little cool. I'm going to go from 2 to 4 because 4 is their critical mass number because it means they can play their Battle Crier, get 2 mana, cast another 3 drop, and go on from there. Very cool card for 1v1. Little sad to see it in Commander, but I'm going to be part of the problem and I am going to play it in my decks. Obviously, you could just not play it, but I don't think that's what anyone's going to do with this one. Next up, we have Unlucky Cabbage Merchant. 1 in a green for 2/2 human citizen. When this creature enters, you make a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you may search your library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you search your library this way, put this creature on the bottom of its owner's library and then shuffle. My cabbages! What a cool card, top to bottom, right? They took this recurring character from the show that shows up for a gag as his cabbages get destroyed and then he runs away, only to show up again later in the series. And they just took that idea and made it a card. You sack your food, you break his cabbages, and then he runs away, and then he shows up again later in the series by going into your deck. Very cool card. On its face, 2 mana 2/2 that gives you a food and then ramps you for 1. Fine card. But what I like about this card is a little trick you can do once you learn how priority works. This ability, this triggers happens regardless of if he's on the battlefield or not. You fully resolve the trigger. And so if you have, say, Samwise in play in like the Hobbit deck, and you have this in play, you can crack all your foods holding priority each time you do it on top of this trigger to make sure that when the stack clears, you get all the basics out of your deck. You put him on the bottom and then shuffle after the first one, and then you shuffle after all the other ones, but you don't have to put him on the bottom anymore because he's not there anymore. He's already in the deck. So, very cool card for food decks. If you're stacking a lot of foods consistently, put this one in your deck. If you are doing the quote unquote fair thing with foods, like paying 2 mana to crack them, this is a little bit worse, right? Because you will probably just get 1 land out of this. But turning all of your foods into a rampant growth is really good. If he stuck around forever, this card would be phenomenal, phenomenal. But having to do it all in one big burst limits its power level in a way that is cool and unique. So I like this card a lot. Very cool. And then we have what is probably going to be one of my favorite cards from the set. I haven't decided yet, honestly, which one's my favorite. Waterbending Ascension, Aang, Washi Tong, and a few others are all in the running right now, which is why I'm calling this set a banger. This is Aang Swift Savior. This is 1 white-blue for a 2/3 human avatar ally. We'll get to why I care about the human later. It's got flash and flying. When Aang enters, you airbend up to 1 other target creature or spell. And then for 8 mana, we can waterbend it to transform him. And its backside is Aang and La Ocean's Fury. It's a 5/5 Avatar Spirit ally. It's got reach and trample, and whenever he attacks, you put a counter on each tapped creature you control. So, there's a lot of things to like about this card, especially in the ways that I play Magic. This is like a spell queller, right? This is a 3 mana flash creature that counters a spell. But it doesn't just counter a spell, it's got a lot of utility to it. They can recast their spell for 2. Don't forget that. There's no like restriction on this, like plotting it did with Aven Interrupter, the card this is going to be best friends with in Standard. But the flexibility you gain for that is you can hit their creature. You can hit your own creature in response to removal. You can hit their creature that would be a powerful blocker that would stop you from getting in for the kill. You can hit your own spell after you're on top of your opponent's counterspell to recast it on the next turn. This does a lot of good stuff, and it is a 3 mana 2/3 flash flyer. So it is super good at attacking and blocking. Just an all-around phenomenal card. Even ignoring the waterbend backside. But in Commander, where this card is going to be an auto-include for me in pretty much every blue-white deck I play, you get to put a counter on each tap creature you control. So you pay 8, flip this thing over either by tapping a whole bunch of clues or treasures or the creatures in play, and then you get in. If you manage to flip this thing without tapping your creatures, you swing with everybody, put a counter on them as they're attacking, and it's just a huge swing. Just a great card all around. And Wizards knew it too. Of all the Angs, they picked this one to get the neon ink bending treatment, and it shows. This is going to be in every standard deck I build for probably the next, what, 2 years is legal? Super, super excited about Ang. Next up, we have the Planetarium of Wan Shi Tong. This is a 6 mana legendary artifact. You can pay 1 and tap it to scry 2. When you scry or surveil, look at the top card of your library. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Do this only once each turn. I don't know who at Wizards of the Coast loves this episode so much. I mean, the library is very cool, right? It's one of the cooler moments in the series from a world building perspective, and just great at reinforcing the themes and all this other stuff. But why did Wan Shi Tong have to get 3 broken cards? This card is phenomenal. If you can consistently scry and surveil, there's that surveil precon that's trying to reanimate big creatures in its yard from Murders at Karlov Manor. There's Elminster, the Baldur's Gate scry commander, or you're trying to, or you just have a lot of surveil lands in your deck, which you should be doing if you're playing a multicolored deck in Commander. This is 6 mana Omniscience. Very, very strong. Uh, if this was just the bottom line of text, I would see this be seeing play in those kind of decks. But it does more than that. It can tap itself to give you the scry. You can pay 1 and tap it to scry 2. If you cast one big thing with this, it's paid for itself immediately. And getting that scry 2 every turn cycle is so good. It's not scry 2 only as a sorcery. It's not an effect that is limited by only on your turn or everything. You can get this in 4 times in turn rotation. There's a lot of commanders that just have a surveil once a turn stapled onto them. There's a bunch of scry effects in Commander that we play consistently. Just imagine resolving a preordain, scrying 2, putting something on the top, drawing a card, and then putting the other card into play. Just such a good card. And 6 mana do nothing in Commander is around the rate I want to pay for something this strong. It's like what's the Chinmill of the Inner Sun, I believe. Just like something in that ballpark. Very, very nice. Like this card a lot. Next up, we have a cycle of lands for this set. At time of recording, we've only seen a few of them. We don't know if we're going to get a white or black one yet, but based off of how these ones work, we can kind of guess what they might do. So this is Agna Kella. This is a land. It enters tapped unless you control a basic. It taps to add blue, and for 2 and a blue, you can draw a card and then discard a card. Just a super nice bread and butter land. I am struggling to think of a deck that would not want this effect, that is playing blue mana and has basic lands. If you're 5 color, you don't play this card, right? You have very few basics in 5 color decks unless you're doing a lot of basic ramping, because you need just the good fixing to cast all your spells. In 3 color decks, you're lower on basics, but you will likely still have at least one that you're going to have in play, especially if you're fetching. And this is basically free. This reminds me a lot of the Lord of the Rings cycle of lands that were all monocolor and did something good. Uh, 3 mana, effectively 4, because you're tapping this land 2 to draw and then discard. Doesn't seem too exciting, but until you've played with it, and then you'll realize how sweet this is. Really, this is a really, really nice card. I intend to put this one directly into all the control decks I'm playing in Standard for the next 2 years, yeah? Is it 3 years now? I can never remember with Standard nowadays. But this is a really cool card. Play it in your low color blue decks, and play it in Standard, period. Next up, we have Fire Nation Palace. This land enters tapped unless you control a basic land. It taps to add red, and then you can pay 1 and a red to tap it to give a creature you control Fire Bending 4 until end of turn. So when it attacks, you add 4 red mana. Very, very nice. So this reminds me a lot. I think it's Castle Garenbrig, which is the green castle from Eldraine. That was a land that you pay 4 and tap it to make 6 mana. So you effectively pay 5 to make 6. This is you pay 3 to make 4, right? Because this land has to be tapped, and you also pay the other thing, and you have to attack with a creature to get your firebending mana. But if you're in a deck that can consistently use the firebending mana, something with a lot of flash creatures, something with a lot of mana sinks, this is really, really nice. Just a little free include in your Fire Nation decks too. Not as ubiquitous, obviously, as the blue deck, but the blue card rather, but very nice. We'll probably see play in standard firebending decks if that exists. I don't know if it will. Nothing's been jumping out at me so far as too good of a payoff for firebending. Though there's some pretty good flash creatures that would be pretty nice to flash in with it, right? And next up we have Ba Sing Se. This is a land that enters tapped unless you control a basic land. It taps for green, just like the other ones do. And then 2 and a green, you tap to Earthbend 2, activate only as a sorcery. Now, this one is one I really like. Like we mentioned earlier, earthbending your lands is a lot more powerful than you think it is because you can stop your land from being destroyed. It comes back when it dies or is exiled. So the only bad thing that could happen is if you get hit with a Cyclonic Rift, and even then it says non-land permanent, so that doesn't matter. But like something like an Into the Flood Maw or a Chain of Vapor on your land would suck. But you're not it's not going to happen, right? They're going to try and kill it, and you do this. Earthbend means you can do this on one land to make a big land creature that can just trundle in for damage every turn, or you can spread out and go wide. Very nice card. I like this one a lot. 4 mana, make a 2/2 on a land is pretty nice. That 2/2 being a land itself, turning one of your lands into that 2/2 is a little less powerful than just 4 mana, make a 2/2, but still pretty nice. I expect to see this one to see some play in some aggressive green decks as an anti-control card. And I know for example, I am very excited to play this in my Lands Aristocrats deck to let me sack the lands, get them back. Very cool. And the next land we have to talk about today is Secret Tunnel. It's this land cannot be blocked. It's a cave. It taps to add colorless. You pay 4 and tap it. 2 target creatures you control that share a creature type cannot be blocked this turn. Forget the next couple of lines, but then it goes, Secret Tunnel, Secret Tunnel. Yeah, we all knew this card was going to be in the set, right? This is like one of the first 4 cards people thought of when they were excited for Avatar. Uh, whew. What a cool design. This land can't be blocked is a question that the card itself does not tell you what to do with it. It's a question without an answer. So often nowadays in Commander design, we'll have a card that asks you a question and then tells you the answer in the same card. Like whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card, put a land to play. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that tells me everything I need to know, right? Or if you do this thing, draw a card. And you're like, okay, well, there's my question. It's like, okay, you want me to do these things, like maybe the Avatar Egg, where you want to do firebending or spending, whatever, whatever. And then your payoff is you draw a card. It's a full complete question answer, whereas older cards tend to be like a question, like Sebut, the one that lets you like give all your creatures haste, and creatures that enter this turn do extra things, and you're like, oh, okay, so I want creatures with haste, right? Or Catilda in the Air, my favorite commander. It just says when you cast a human spell, target instant sorcery in your graveyard gains a flashback. That's all it says. It doesn't like draw you a card when you cast a human spell. It doesn't give your instants and sorceries like a cost reduction or anything like that. It just gives you a question, and then you figure out how you want to build the deck. This is one of those cards, and super nice to see this design coming back. Such a flavorful card too, right? The whole story of the secret tunnel was these 2 lovers who love each other, and they made the secret tunnel through the mountains so they could see each other. And so now you have your 2 lovers getting rogues passaged. Perfect. It's a secret tunnel through the mountains, so they can see each other when people don't want them to see each other. So your creature can see your opponent's face when they don't want you to see it. Great. Perfect card. I'm super excited to put this one in. I have a partner pair, like creature aggro deck built around Madame Vastra and Jenny Flint from Doctor Who, and they're both detectives. So you put this in there, do it, and then they come in and get you. Great card. If you have a typo deck, you're gonna want to have this in your deck. It's just a strict upgrade on Rogue's Passage. So if you're playing like goblins with Amuxus, or if you're playing humans with oh, what's his name? There's a 5 mana human that gets bigger whenever a human comes into play, and then buffs your humans for each counter on him. He gets huge. Play this there, and then you can make 2 humans unblockable and just kill somebody. It's great. Next up, we have the Legend of Yang Shen. 3 white for an enchantment saga. Starting with you, each player chooses up to 1 permanent with mana value 3 or greater from among permanents your opponent's control. Exile those permanents. You may have target opponent draw 3 cards. If you do, draw 3 cards. And then the final step is you transform it into Avatar Yang Shen. She's a 4/5 avatar flying. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, airbend up to one other target non-land permanent. All right. So, Saga decks keep getting freaking amazing cards. This card is so cool. 5 mana, starting with you. Each player chooses up to one permanent. Is just like, oh, cool. I'm gonna take that thing, and then all your other opponents are like, okay, well, that guy he wronged me last turn. Let's get his creature off the board. If you're not the arch enemy, you guys can group together and be like, hey, this guy he needs to get taken down a peg. Pop, 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 and they don't get this stuff back. It doesn't like come back when you flip this. It doesn't come back when you do something with Yongshan. No, they're just gone. They don't get anything for it. And this may make you some enemies, right? If you all gang up on somebody. So on your next turn, you can be like, hey, buddy, I know we all picked to kill your thing. Have 3 cards. I'll also draw 3 cards. Ignore that. I'll take 3 cards. You can get 3 cards. I'm on Team Secret Rendezvous in Commander, by the way. I do think this is a good effect, but you have to be in the right deck for it. But you don't have to do this. If you, for whatever reason, you're like, if I give this guy 3 cards, I'm going to lose the game. You can just not give him the cards. You're never choosing this mode in 1v1 unless you're desperate, right? Uh, and then you flip this card, and you just get a good body with flying. And when you cast your second spell, you get to flicker your own stuff or get their things out of the way. If your opponent's got like a ghostly prison and you have your Yang Shun in play, you're like, cool, I'm gonna do boop boop bop. Your thing's gone. Great. And then I'll attack in while your permanent's off the hit field. Very cool effect. Like this one a lot. Play this one in your white decks in Commander. Next up, we have Avatar's Wrath. This is 2 white for sorcery. Choose up to one target creature, then airbend all other creatures. Until your next turn, your opponent's gonna cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Exile Avatar's Wrath. So sad this card exiles, because if it didn't, this would be one of my new favorite things to do with Eternal Witness. But whew, okay. So let's talk about this card. First thing you should keep in mind, this is not a Wrath. I know. It says Wrath in the title. This is not a board wipe. This is a mass bounce, right? This is that's what you should read this as. You can keep one thing, and then everything else goes away. So if you have a creature, a big creature in play, you want to hit somebody with Voltron style, or you have a specific expensive value piece, or a creature with a lot of counters on it, or something along those lines, you can keep it, and then everything else goes away, and then they can't get these things back. That's what I like so much about this card. Their stuff can't come back. So if somebody has a powerful commander that you need to keep off the table for as long as possible, and they get it in play, you can play this on your next turn and go, your commander is now in exile. You can get it back on your next turn by paying 2 once this effect is resolved. So until my next turn, you can't get it back. So you buy yourself this time that is so valuable in Commander. Think about this. Drannith Magistrate is such a banger of a card. This does that effect for 1 turn rotation. This is how you do a fair version of that effect. Super nice. It's limited. It doesn't do it forever. Just a great card. Very, very nice. Playing this one in a lot of Blink decks going forward. Next up, we have the Legend of Kyoshi. This is 4 green for Saga. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Earthbend X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That land becomes an island. And then you flip it, and you Avatar Kyoshi. She's a 5/4. Lands you control have trample and hexproof. You tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Holy cow. The only thing that's holding this card back is that it's not a creature itself. This is a mono green staple as far as I'm concerned. I am sticking this one in every green deck I have that is like big creatures. It's a Rich Card's Expertise that then gives you a gigantic creature, which manifests you for some reason if you're in blue, and then it flips into a creature. It flips into Zavala. Like, what? This is so good. So good. Plus, lands you control have trample and hexproof. It doesn't have to be the earthbended lands. If you have like a Field of the Dead in play or a Merit Lage producing land coming soon, your opponents will try and target the thing, and you're like, hexproof. Sorry, you can't take this one off the table. Super, super cool. Love this card. Play it in your green decks. Seriously, it's that good. And then we have a nice little bonus sheet I want to talk about for a little bit here. We've had some potentially confirmed insider reporting that is saying that this was a mandate from Viacom, that they wanted the episode screenshot art on the cards. And so they made this whole bonus sheet to make that happen. How true that is, we don't know. I do know that Weiss Schwartz, another card game with an Avatar collaboration, also did a lot of episode screenshot art on their cards, to the point where one of the Toph bonus sheet cards is identical in framing to one of the Weiss Schwartz cards. And I just want to talk about the bonus sheet for a bit. Uh, the Mystic Remora here, I think, is the best looking of all the cards in the bonus sheet. And even then, it's not the best. This is still pretty, right? The moonfish, right? But so many of these are they don't make any sense what card they chose. We got Fabled Passage today, which depicts Aang and Katara standing in a tunnel talking to each other, and it's not like, oh, well, it's a big shot of the tunnel and they're in the distance. No, no, no. It's a close up on them talking. It's a land. It is no reason to be a land, right? We have what was it? It is an Azula from the beach episode that is like an advisor. We have a Dockside Extortionist as there's a normal pirate. That's not a goblin. That's a guy. That's a human man. Like there's a lot of these in Final Fantasy as well that I really didn't like. Like what Tidus is Thrasios, so this human guy is a merfolk now. Okay, uh, but I just really wanted to point out like the value on these cards is very high because there's mechanics wise very good reprints in here. We have a bunch of portal cards. We have Teferi's Protection. We have what else? There's just tons and tons of it. Mr. Gamora is a great reprint. Uh, and we also have probably the best worst card in the last, what, 8 years of Magic? Cruel Tutor. Why is he like this? Why is he like this? But that brings us to the next portion I wanted to talk about. Now that we've run most of the Avatar set, I just wanted to talk about the set in general. Wow. What a surprisingly good set. We may have you may have heard us even talking on this podcast how we were a little concerned for how Avatar was going to turn out based on how like Spider-Man was handled. It's the sixth set of the year, so I was personally concerned that this was going to be a bit of a shipped in set. And some of the previews we got early didn't really convince me otherwise, right? Besides the metal bending Toph card, not many of the cards looked very interesting or cool. But wow, they have surprised me with this set. Just banger after banger after banger showed off. There's probably gonna still be cards that I would wish we could talk about here that get revealed after this. So super super excited for this Avatar set. For me personally, now that we've seen almost the whole thing, I don't think anything beats Tarkir Dragonstorm for me as the best set of this year. Final Fantasy is very close to Tarkir, but Tarkir just was so unique in its designs, so thematic in its three color pairs. I loved everything they did in that set, just top to bottom. Even Corey Steelcutter. Even I was playing standard. I was not playing the deck. I was dealing with it. And I still love the set. It's just such a cool card and such a cool set rather. So super love that one. Honestly, I didn't hate Aether Drift that much either. Still feels strange that this was this calendar year, but the start of this year. Aether gave us Stock Up and the rest of the Verges, so I can't hate it, right? Plus, it gave us a bunch of cool Goblins cards for the standard Goblins deck, which is something that is super fun to play when you just get some fun games in and not win tournaments. But, yeah, I was really worried that Avatar was going to be Spider-Man again. I grew up with Avatar. I was a kid when stuff was airing, and I loved it when I grew up. I watched the whole thing. I was sitting on the ground, watching the television in my living room when the finale happened for Avatar. I was there, uh, but I was also a huge Spider-Man fan as a kid, and that didn't change how much I cared about Spider-Man when they ruined that set. This set is a absolute banger. Super super excited to play this one. This into Lorwyn is gonna be just beautiful, nice run of sets because there's no way they mess up Lorwyn. The cards they've shown already for Lorwyn are just so good. So not super concerned about that one being bad. So, but yeah, that's all the talk about Avatar for today. Uh, Next up, we're gonna talk about the Secret Lair Countdown Kit. So I understand if you're a bit tired hearing about secret layers, we are now 3 weeks in a row of every week secret layer drop happened on the Monday, and we're in the third week in a row where we had issues getting in. It was almost impossible to get what you wanted. Everything sold out in minutes. If Secret Lair was just like every couple of weeks, we're just gonna pop something on the store, and it's gonna be here for 3 months, and when it's gone, and when after 3 months it's gone, so you get what you want, people would not be upset with it. But it's the specific fear of missing out tactics that they're doing, which sucks so much. The Secret Lair Countdown Kit is one of the best like products based on the art and the card selection that they've done this whole year through the Secret Lair line. It is beautiful. Very cool top to bottom design as well, where they're like, yeah, this gimmick this time we're gonna do an advent calendar, but we're not gonna call it an advent calendar. We're gonna do A to Z, so it's 26 cards. So advent calendars are normally 25. This one's 26. But then they made it cost $200, so up $50 from the 30th anniversary countdown kit. And then they made it super, super limited. It sold out in like in the first hour. The system broke, so I wasn't here for this, but my roommate Kai, our co-host, was the one who got in for us. Luckily, we found, which they didn't at all talk about before the event, they did a if you buy two of them, you get each of them for 150, so 300 total, which brings the price to a reasonable amount for what you're getting. And we were lucky enough to have two people who needed it, so we split the price, right? But just a totally unfortunate experience. The site black screened, broke, fully went down before the sale went live, with everybody doing the early queue like they told us to do. Like we mentioned in the podcast. So if you had an issue with the queue, it's on you. We told you about this a couple weeks ago. If you don't remember, you have to put an item in your cart beforehand, before the sale starts. Go to checkout, get signed in, get all your stuff, and then it won't actually let you check out. It will just put you in the queue. And when your turn pops in, then you can go back to the main page. You won't lose your space in line. You go back to the main page, actually pick out what you want, and then check out immediately. Uh, Kai was in the actual queue for 45 minutes, but the queue was delayed. First 15 minutes, then 30 minutes after that, for a total of 45 minutes. So I feel bad for anybody who was like trying to get in the queue during their lunch break because it was 45 minutes past the start time when they actually started the waiting period. It wasn't like, oh, well, 45 minutes, everyone's in. No, no, no. It was 45 minutes, and then you wait in the queue. Some people were in that queue for 4 hours on Monday just to be told they couldn't buy it at the end, which sucks. But ignoring all the FOMO and taking a look at these cards as what they are, I just wanted to go through them real quick and show off the cards because they're really, really cool. So I'm not going to read off what all these cards do. If you do not know what they are, you can take a look on Scryfall. This set code is SLC, so you do set colon SLC, and you'll see all of them yourself to read what these are and remind yourself. But I just want to just kind of comment on the art a little bit, right? This is Altar of the Brood. So one mana artifact, when another permanent you control enters, each opponent mills a card. Super pretty cool card. I just read the card like I said I wasn't going to, but this looks like it's like a 90s D&D cover. This is like the coolest adventure you've never played. It's gonna be awesome. And then we got then we have Brain Freeze. What a cool card. Like so pretty. Doing it in the whole like it looks like a dime novel or like the cover for like a fake candy from like a Stephen King novel. Very cool. Nice to see another CDH staple in here, but there's a few more we're gonna get to later. Crop rotation with this just crazy art. This is a first time Magic artist, obviously not a first time artist because like look at it. Just the way that this card conveys like, layers of depth is just so pretty. Then we have Demonic Consultation in the like Shel Silverstein poetry book style. I don't know if it's the same for everyone my age, but I grew up with these things, and so seeing this kind of this style on a Magic card is making the nostalgia work for me. I love this. It's so cute. Then we have Eerie Ultimatum in that really cool style they've been doing with like the black and white. Like I don't know what you would even call this. My artist girlfriend Jasmine would probably know, but uh, my one wish for this card because this is like another they're doing another collaboration with this person. This is the guy who did the art for the circular logic that says sorcery instead of instant. I would have loved if they had printed this card where it said instant and there was a line through it and then it said sorcery above it. I know it wouldn't be as clean, but I think it'd be such a funny little in joke for them to do. I get why they didn't, right? But I think it'd be hilarious. And then we have my favorite card in the whole drop, Field of the Dead. Look at this art. This is Colby Nichols, one of the art directors for Wizards of the Coast, and this like style is so insane that you communicate all the information about the card within the frame. It doesn't really look like a land, but that doesn't matter. It's gorgeous. But most importantly, for me, a Innistrad Sicko, this is an Innistrad printing of Field of the Dead, which means it's now legal in all of your Innistrad themed things, right? Right there at the top in the middle, you can see Avacyn's collar, the symbol of her church. And above it, that's Gisa and Geralf. Uh, and below them, the zombie there walking in the middle, it's got Gisa's shovel, which is perfect. Love this card. This is now one of my chase cards. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but these cards are by default going to come in non-foil. There was no foil option when you purchased, but every card has a chance to come in regular foil or halo foil. I don't know if you've seen halo foils, but they are drop dead gorgeous. And getting this card in halo foil whew, is something I really want. So I'm gonna try and do my best to get this. It's probably gonna be really expensive, but we'll see. Next up is Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Everyone knows what this card is, but this is Stupid Sexy Gary. I don't know why they did this to him. He's a zombie, but whew, I have seen a lot of thirst posting about this guy in this last week, and I think we will continue to see the posts as long as this card continues to see play. Next up, we have Hymn to Turok. What a banger of a card. All these other cards, they're commander slop. Maybe Ultimatum is good in Lotus Field, but the rest of the cards, they're commander slop. This is a real sicko card. Beautiful. This is a staple in Canadian Highlander. Maybe not a staple to say. There's not really staples besides Modern Horizons cards, but this card is so good. I saw somebody on YouTube Shorts. I think it was for NRG. They were interviewing players, and he was like, "Yeah, I want him to Turok in Modern." No, you don't. You don't want him to Turok in Modern. This card is horrible to have it played against you. Whenever you hit your opponent's two lands off this thing on turn two, you feel like a god, sure, but it just like makes non-games they don't really like to do nowadays. But I I'm a discard sicko. This is so cool. Do not let them have this in modern though, because I don't want to lose to it. Next up, we have Isochron's Scepter with art that everyone's been clowning on for some reason. I think it's hilarious. It's even referencing the like Commander Isochron Scepter combo where you put the mana reversal under it, where the flavor text is like again mana and tap it and cast. It's like implying that you're doing it over and over again. Great. Such a cool card. It's Kieran Yanner. Letting this guy just do whatever the heck he wants is my personal opinion. We should just let him do it whatever. He puts banger after banger after banger into this game. Let him make his super silly 80s Isochron Scepter. It's great. Next up, we have Junji the Midnight Sky, which is, oh my goodness, the art on this thing is insane. Absolutely insane. One of the best pieces of art released this year. I want to find a print of this thing and I want to put it on my wall. He's like, whew. Next, we have Krark-Clan Ironworks. I have never bought a copy of this card. I've been meaning to and kept forgetting. And then they released this one with this crazy style here with all these goblins all over it. And I'm like, finally, my copy of Krark-Clan Ironworks. Love goblins. Great work, Jimmy Knives. Very cool card. And then we have Llanowar Elves. Probably the best of the Llanowar Elves borderless arts. I'm partial to the retro foil Llanowar Elves from older sets, but this art is objectively beautiful. And one of our good friends, our moderator on Discord, Silva, is looking for a playset of these. So super excited to let them have them because I have my signed retro foil copies of Llanowar Elves that are my forever copies. I hope we don't get this one in foil because if they're all in like one's foil, one's non-foil, it's gonna be super hard for them to get the rest. Next up, we have Myrel Shield of Argive, and just look at the colors on this art. I want to like eat it. It's amazing. And Myrel is one of those characters, like those cards that is needed a reprint from more recent sets. It was from 2023, so 2 years ago still, but like very good card, very pretty art. Love to see it. Great. Next up, we have Narset's Reversal. Woo! Woo! It looks like a playing card. Super stylistic, very cool, almost like album cover or playing card esque. Very pretty art. And such a good fit for Narcissus Reversal, too. I was hoping we would get the Narset Parter Avails because I'm a sicko, but this is really nice, anyways. And then we have Ob Nixilis the Fallen in this heavy metal style. So cool. Super sick. And great card. Then we have Phyrexian Altar as like the cover of the coolest sci-fi novel you've not read yet. Just ooh, so pretty, so nice. Super excited to add this one to my Aristocrats decks. Then we got Questing Beast. Look at this little guy. He's just a little goober. I wish this was a Texas Questing Beast. It's coming. It's gonna happen, guys. They're gonna give us Texas Questing Beast. They're just gonna do it, right? It's too much of a meme for them not to at this point. But the art on this is so good, so cute. I wish this one was Texas as well because there's all these little goobers beneath the text box you can barely see, and this questing beast is I think coming to go get. So very cool. Love his art. Then we have Retrofitter Foundry. I mean, it's got retro in the name. It's pixel art style. Very cool. It reminds me of some of the like simulator games that were really popular in like the 2010s, 2012s. I don't what was it? Was it Video Game Dev Simulator or whatever that was like this art style too? But this is just such a cool like little like robots making robots factory thing. Cool card, and unlike the normal Lots Retrofitter Foundry, this one actually shows all the different types of things being made at once, which is super, super cool. Love this card. Then we got Soul Ring. Stay tuned for next week, guys, where we release our Soul Ring tier list. Seriously, we are going to be doing this. This is one of the higher rating Soul Rings. Like, this is definitely going in S tier when we make that list. As for Soul Ring, just such an amazing piece of art. I love how they keep printing this card with cooler and cooler art pieces to match your decks. Super nice. Love that for self expression. Then we have Temple of the False God. This art is phenomenal. I am disappointed in the card choice because this card is booty butt cheeks, but this art is very pretty. Very excited to put this in a binder until I need $5 for a trade in, in which case I'll hand it in. And then we have the card that made the whole drop, Urza's Saga. I'm partial to the Field of the Dead, but this is a close second. This is what convinced me to buy this thing before we saw any of the other cards. Look at this art style for this Urza Saga. If you're listening, I'm sorry you can't look at it, but you need to go look this up because holy cow. Doing a saga like this where you can still it looks like the normal framing of a magic card with the arts on the top and the text is on the bottom, but you can still read all the abilities. It makes sense. You go one, two, three, you go around. Super, super cool. This Halo foil is going to buy a house. Like it's gonna be so expensive and I kind of want them. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Super excited to put this in one of my commander decks, and hopefully, maybe somehow I get lucky, and they're only like $50 a piece, as opposed to 300, so I can get a playset for modern. But very, very pretty. And then we have the land that we all thought was going to be City of Brass because we only saw the top half, but it's Vesuva. Super nice to get a reprint of Vesuva. City of Brass got a reprint in Mystery Booster 2. So we didn't need it as much as we needed Vesuva. And I really like this art style here. It looks like an older like dime novel again. A lot of novel art looking things here. Fantasy art and novel art go hand in hand, right? So many fantasy novels have such good art in the past. This is a really good one. Great card, cool art, nice to see it, especially with that Avatar lands gifts I'm given to get this card in circulation again. Very nice. And then Wasteland. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at this Wasteland, guys. It looks like a Marvel movie poster, but if you don't recognize all the characters on here, that is, I want to say Lord Ringgrace right there in the front. Behind it is Titania. Below it is Ren and Six, and then Ramen Excavator, and then the Get Wrong Monster. All decks or cards that abuse Wasteland, and it's so funny. It's so good. Oh, love this one. Then we have Zancha Sleeper Agent. Love this art style. It reminds me of some of the Spider-Man cards, actually. Very, very pretty. Uh, and then we have Yarok the Desecrated. It's just so sick. Like, look at it. We can get in Elementals again in Lorwyn, so this could matter for the Elemental decks, but also, like, This is one of those commanders that you look at and you go, yeah, I should probably make that thing, huh? And I've thought about that for a while. Now that I have one coming, I'm building Yarok. It's gonna be cool. And then finally, we got a Zozu the Punisher reprint. This card, it looks great, very pretty, and a little bittersweet for me. The Zozu the Punisher that I like to play with, well, rather, is sees play in our group. We pass it around sometimes. Is a super super scuffed one that one of our friends and fellow bracket builder, Jeremy, had may have sort of crushed and gotten bent and horribly beat up over time. But just the vibes of this beat to crap card just going into play and be like, yeah, you don't get to play lands anymore. This is gonna kill you. It's just so good, so good. So yeah, overall, a little conflicted, right? The FOMO aspect and the price was a little annoying, but the art is undeniably amazing in this drop. The card choices, in my opinion, are all pretty good. It's like just Temple of the False God that made me go, eh. But the other choices at least are cool cards, right? That are playable in some format. I know some Commander players are like, oh, him to Turok. They're not real sickos. Believe me, when you play that card in a 1v1 format, you'll know why it's here. All right, well, beyond that, I just wanted to quickly do a small section on the commander bans coming next week. We're going to talk a bit more about them after the Soul Ring tier list next week. Hopefully, it's more than just standard bans. Streets are saying Legacy is getting a rotation, hopefully, with a lot of stuff going. We'll see if that actually happens. But standard's got to get rid of Vivi, obviously, right? But if they just hit Vivi and then the next ban window isn't until next summer, welcome to Prof's winter, spring, and summer. It's this card. Prof's Eidetic Memory is a hell of a card, and both Avatar and Lorwyn have great cards to put into the deck. So it's not going anywhere. If they ban Vivi, you're just gonna die to the Profs. Now it's easier to fight this version of the deck than fighting the Vivi because you had to respect both the combo and the mid-range value package. Now you only have to respect the mid-range, but we'll see if that's enough to nerf the deck. I personally think Prof is going to settle into a solid tier 0, but we'll see. I will be playing the deck though. I love the Prof shell, especially if it winds up that Jeskai Oculus is the best build, and I will always take a chance to put Important Oculus into play. And then this last little bit here, I want to touch on Riftbound. I don't know if you've heard anything about this. This is a League of Legends TCG. I've not played League of Legends. Nothing against those who do, but I really liked Arcane, and the world is very cool. And honestly, I was kind of hoping we get a proper Magic crossover. The reskinned like Secret Lair cards are cool, but a proper set would have been cool. Now that we got Riftbound, that's not going to happen. But this game is really fun. They fix a lot of the quote unquote problems with Commander in their 4-player format, and they fix a lot of the issues with the mana system, with the way that they do mana. They're doing it in the older style where you get a separate lands deck and you flip extra land. You put them into play guaranteed every turn, as opposed to putting them into your deck. There's pros and cons to either. I think Magic is just the best game ever made, and so deviations to it need to prove themselves. So we'll see how good this game is. What I've played so far has been super fun. I hope the game sticks around because competition is great. If Riftbound does really well and is selling out 1v1 tournaments, Magic's going to have to choose to either commit to supporting their tournament scene or officially letting it die. And I think they're going to go for the first one because Wizards genuinely loves this game. As much as the higher ups seem to be making terrible business decisions all the time, they love the game. So if they have a reason to go to their bosses and be like, guys, look, we need to put more prize support into our events because look at what Riftbound's doing. Riftbound's doing a hypothetical $1 million card game tournament. Magic can't let themselves get up shown up like this, so they will do cool stuff, hopefully, right? But maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe Wizards just goes, that sucks. You're gonna keep playing Magic though because it's a better game, right? And enjoy your $200 entry for a $45 promo card. But that's all I got for you today. Longer show than I thought, honestly. I thought these spoilers would only get me through a half an hour, but we're just at about the hour and 3 minute mark here. So thank you so much for listening this long. We did not receive any questions from last time. So if you want to leave a question for us to talk about here on the podcast, drop it in the descriptions below. where we will get to it at the end of our next show. Thank you for sticking around to the end. I appreciate you guys turning out for another solo mode at podcast. Uh, I promise I'm going to have a guest come back soon. It's not just going to be me rambling the whole time, as much as I can ramble. Uh, we're going to get other people soon. So tune in next week where we do our Soul Ring tier list, and check out the VOD for the stream that's going live at the same day as this video is posted. We're doing a barn burner avatar stream where we're just building decks, ranking commanders, all kinds of fun stuff. So tune in. It's going to be a really fun one. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.